Gary here. Welcome to episode 63 of BookMob. Today I'm going to be talking about a newly released mystery murder novel by the author Richard Osman, We Solve Murders. Now, Richard Osman is the creator of a very well-known BBC One TV game show called Pointless. I think I've seen a couple of episodes in my time. Also, he's very tall. He's like about 6'7", a real brainbox, by the way. Now, Richard Osman is also the author of 4 very, very successful murder. It's called the Thursday Murder Club Mystery Series, and I think they were released. The first one was released in 2020, or I read this one in 2021. So he's stacking it up, the literary canon for the future. So he's got 4 novels there, and I think he's got a 5th one coming out sometime later in 2025. Now, so those books, the Thursday Murder Club mystery books are, I mean, they're entertaining, they're harmless, they're fun, they're well written, they have multiple characters, and they do have some substance. They do seem to obviously they've gelled with the population because they've sold millions upon millions of copies over the last couple of years. And it comes to my question of We Solve Murders. Now, I don't know anything about the publishing industry. I'm not sure how things work. I guess if you know you've got a name, if you've got a brand, I mean, you look at the artwork, they're very similar. So they, sticking with something that people can, pattern recognition. And again, I've got no hassles with that. That's great. Getting more literature out there, more books. Anyway, I stayed away from We Solve Murders because I didn't want to get involved in another whole series that I had to keep going in order to get the full enterprise into my mind, my reading mind, that is. But I finally decided, no, I've got to check it out because I just couldn't see the reason why someone who's had such a successful run with 4 novels, with a 5th one to come. In fact, the Thursday Murder Club series has been sold. The rights have been sold to Steven Spielberg, and I think the first novel is actually might be at this point being created by film starring Helen Mirren. Now that's just, I don't know that for sure, got no inside knowledge. I just read that somewhere when I was researching for this episode. So if you like your crime and your mystery novels, I guess the one thing I know about crime and mystery, considering all the other types of novels I've read, is that I generally find them very soothing, very entertaining, easy to read, fun reads, and you can get through them pretty quickly. I mean, they're perfect for long flights and long train journeys. And also, I guess, because they are so well received, it's a business that's printing money for the publishers and for the writer. And again, that's fantastic. So when I saw We Solve Murders and I looked at the back and I read the blurb, and it's a different scenario, but I'm going, how different can the book be? I mean, from the original 4 series where he's built up this history of these multiple characters, with ebb and flow of narrative. I mean, he's really, in the Thursday Murder Book Club, he's really created an enterprise that is fun, entertaining, and highly enjoyable reading. So my only guess is that someone came along and said, or his agent or someone in the public said, look, your name is hot right now. You've got the 5th one still coming out. How about we just write something else and stick your name on it, and it'll sell like hotcakes. Now, I don't know what how successful We Solve Murders has been. I'm assuming that it is successful. However, and I don't know, it's funny when you have a feeling about something with no evidence. So, I'm reading, I've read thousands of books, okay? So I'm reading this novel and something doesn't smell right. There's something about the way this novel is structured, the narrative, the sort of product placement of cultural ideas. It just seems, I don't know, it just seems so contrived. Now, the story is, it's passable. It has some entertaining, some humor. To me, it nowhere near matches the sort of innocent sensitivity and joy of the Thursday Murder Book Club. Like I said, when it first came out, I kind of stayed away from it purely because I didn't want to get, like I said, I didn't want to get stuck into reading another whole series as they release these books. But it finally, like I said, I just thought, I've got to read it. So the story, you've got your major characters, an older ex-detective, like there's an older ex-detective in the Thursday Murder Book Club, and there's a young, hot, his daughter-in-law is a young, hot, what's her name in the book? Amy Wheeler is his daughter-in-law. Steve Wheeler is the ex-detective, worked in the Metropolitan Police for 25 years or something, and he lives in some idyllic English village where life is pretty much frozen in time, though there are some changes, and they do talk about that. There is an element of that cultural shift that's going on in the West at the moment. But on the whole, the village that he lives in is Steve Wheeler's final resting place as a man who's just lost the love of his life, and he wanders around the street. He goes to the pub, he plays bingo or pub quiz, and he's got his life all sorted out in a very lame sort of easygoing way that he didn't have before while he was a police officer. His son is some hotshot banker who travels the world, and he's hardly in the novel. He makes a sort of a token appearance. But Amy Wheeler is his daughter-in-law, and she's like some, ex-gym junkie who turned into a professional bodyguard who looks after famous people. And this is where the story starts with a company that uses people like Amy Wheeler to look after stars. Suddenly, 3 of their clients have been murdered, 1, 2, 3, and it all turns on the dime of, so 3 clients of this company that Amy Wheeler works for have suddenly been murdered, and then it's the infighting. So it's not a complicated story. There's a rich old sort of Barbara, what was her name? The very, very wealthy Barbara Cartland type character, except she's very sexy, and there's a lot of this. Osman seems to be obsessed with 2 people meeting each other who should never have met and falling in love, which I do like. I'm a big fan of romance, not romance novels, but I like rom-com films. But in the book, he gets 2 people who should never have met, and because of the disturbance in the force, because of these murders, people from outlandish positions in life come together and discover we're all in love. So there's a sort of innocence about it. There's a sort of like it's like a fantasy world. It's a bit like what's his name, Jeffrey Archer's Warwick series, where his character has been growing up since the 70s or 80s as a copper, and how the cultural world is shifting underneath them. And he has cricket and teas and jam and scones, and it's kind of like to me it's kind of it's a fantasy read for the first quarter of the 21st century. Now, so I started reading We Solve Murders, and I just found the writing, if I looked at Osman's, say, his last novel, The Last Devil to Die from the Thursday Book Murder Club, it just, I don't know. I don't want to go as far as to say that this is a book written by a committee or that he didn't write this. I'm sure, because again, I'm going on a feeling. I'm going on the pattern recognition of my own brain that has read 4 of his novels. He comes to this latest one, a whole new genre, or not a new genre, sorry, a whole new universe where he's obviously intending to release another in this, because at the end of the story, you kind of get the feeling, they're going to form a detective agency and blah, blah, blah. Now, So I'm reading, I'm reading through, and I just find the writing, it seems artificial. Now, when I say artificial, it just seems so like more than contrived. It almost seems if it's been produced, the actual story and the dialogue is just, it's amazing, because I do know that there are companies, and I'm not saying that Richard Osman has done this. All I'm saying is that there are companies out there right now who are producing literature using AI. Now, I don't know much about AI. I've checked out ChatGPT. I've done Grok, just for some fun things. But I don't understand it. I don't know how it works and what's the point of it. All I know is that AI has, what is it Asimov says about AI? He says robots are perfect, but they're not reasonable. Like they can see the world, and they can, and the AI can look at the language and place it down, but the AI doesn't have the lived experience. It doesn't have the attitude of a writer from mind to hand to paper to computer. Now, again, I prefer that. Obviously, I mean, I'm not a big fan of AI art, but the problem is it's there, and it's going to change the way we think and the way we read and what we view and what we see. But I can tell you, when I was reading this novel, I got the feeling that I was reading something written and created by a person who hasn't really thought about it. Like, it is not a, if you read the Thursday Book Club, Murder Club, you know, you feel the characters, you can see them drawn together. The dialogue seems authentic, not sort of plastic. And in this novel, like throughout the novel, he's dropping like cultural hints, like almost, not like, it's like product placement, not for products, but for events like podcasting, Joe Rogan, jiu-jitsu. I mean, who heard of jiu-jitsu, 5 years ago? No one. And suddenly, so what I'm saying is it's almost like the AI has gone out in the world, and whoever the AI was, it could be a publicist at the Penguin Viking who's been told, hey, you've got to find out how this happens. And my cynical approach may be blinding my reasonableness. But all I know is that halfway through the book, I could predict the end. Halfway through the book, I could almost predict the ebb and flow of the events and incidents that create the story. And I don't mean, and again, you can do that. You can say that with many books, but what I'm saying is, it's almost like it's laid out. Even the way it's when you read it, your brain kind of just goes bop 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 bop. It just seems so artificial. I can't believe, and I just can't believe that Richard Osman sat down and wrote this book in the same manner that he wrote these 4 other novels. Now, again, no evidence, just feeling. I just found the whole setup robotic, the cultural product placement kind of almost like boring and banal. I mean, just some things that you didn't need to say or need to do. A lot of the setups, a lot of the adventure action scenes seem to come straight from the screen. It's almost like someone watched a movie of a certain scene, say a chase or whatever, and then just went, okay, I just copied it, write it down, I'm seeing what I'm seeing, and they've put that into the novel. Again, no proof. I'm just talking about how I've reacted to when I read Richard Osman's We Solve Murders. It wasn't entertaining. It was partially entertaining. I was kind of, I never got sucked in like the Thursday Murder Club mysteries. I get sucked into it. I get sucked into the language, the different characters. I can associate through them some of my own personality traits. And when I read We Solve Murders, I just thought, it's like, it just seemed outlandishly, not boring, but it just seems so, it seems like it's overproduced, like it's produced within an inch of itself. Like you can imagine a committee sitting around, no, we shouldn't do that, we're too afraid, you can't mention that, let's put in this word, or let's make this character a bit more of a larrikin, but blah. And and by the time I'm finished reading it, I just couldn't wait to finish it. And so again, when I first saw this book come out, I wasn't interested in it because I thought, I'll stay away, like I said, I'll stay away from another series. I like Richard Osman's The Thursday Murder. The Thursday Murder Club mystery books. They're fine. They're well written. They're entertaining. They're fun. And then when I picked this up, it's almost like I had a sixth sense that something just wasn't quite right. And it's hard to give examples because the whole book, to me, seems artificially created. It seems that either the book was created quickly or quickly finished, given to someone else who's taken a rough edged story and just kind of try to make things match. Maybe there was some AI involved in the creation of the final product. Maybe they did sit around at night and say, oh, we got Osman's latest book, what do you reckon? It's not as catchy as the Thursday Murder Club mysteries, but it does have his name. It's got his branded cover, which I think people now, when you look at it, it kind of catches the eye, because I've seen a few other novels have come out with this similar type of branded cover coming out, and I haven't attempted to read them. I've got zero interest in reading too many of these books. I read them for entertainment and fun, but there's a limit to the amount of books. It's almost like people are copying each other, or maybe publishing houses are going around saying, look what's selling, let's bang this out now. And at the end of the day, I just wish this novel was a lot more deeper, had a lot more of a authentic feel. So, okay, it does not feel authentic. It feels either rushed into production. It feels almost if the novel was written by a committee. It feels as if there is some kind of artificial intelligence that has been used in, I don't know, creating experiences or looking, casting a net into the cultural void and pulling in those references to various popular, very tactile popular culture icons that are now becoming, Navy SEALs. I mean, just the word Navy SEAL, like the guard had to be a Navy SEAL. He couldn't be an SAS operator. I mean, he had to be a Navy SEAL because, again, Navy SEAL is now a pop culture a signpost. And you might find these points naive on my part, but on the other hand, I wouldn't recommend We Solve Murders highly. I mean, I would, if you've never written Richard Osman, I highly recommend the Thursday Murder Club mysteries, because they're great, they're fun, they're great to read, they're easy to read, they're entertaining. Whereas this book was a labor. It didn't really reach any level of depth as a murder mystery. It was more of like a mix-up between murder mystery and sort of like Mission Impossible and, gangs of people getting together and working out problems in 5 minutes. And the whole story just seems so contrived, and unfortunately, I wouldn't highly recommend it. And I would like to find, it'd be great if you can get it, if I could speak to Richard Osman and say, what was your writing process between the Thursday Murder Club mysteries and We Solve Murders? I mean, where did you write it? How did you write it? How long did it take you to write? Did you give the same amount of effort, the same amount of love and attention that you gave those 4 novels as you to this new sort of section? Or did someone simply come along and say, hey, Richard, you've got a great name now. That branding is just brilliant. We've got to get something out. Can you come up with something, and we'll sort out the nitty gritty when it comes to it? Because it just doesn't feel as if there is that much attention to detail that he gives his other characters and his other narratives in those 4 other books. And I mean, obviously, look, Osman is a very well-known name. He's a real, like I said, he's a genius, brainy box. He knows his way around entertainment. He knows his way around popular culture. He's got an extremely successful podcast. So it's not like the guy needs any extra work. I just find it sort of a bit exasperating that after producing 4 relatively original stories or novels in the murder mystery genre, that he had to come up with this that just is kind of like a shame, because I really do think it doesn't do his work his overall canon of work any good. If anyone ever watches this, because usually I think my last video got 2 views. So if anyone ever watches this, just let me know if you read this, where I'm going wrong, what have I missed? Am I missing the obvious? So when I think about it, We Solve Murders by Richard Osman is a book that, to me, is lacking in real life energy. It's contrived. It seems art by committee. It suffers from too much. It's so loud in it's almost like an American. It's like an American action movie put into print, but and I just think it's very difficult. It's very surprising that you can read someone's 4 novels and then suddenly see, and that when you read it, the text itself strikes you as alien. Like it's the way it's set out, the way your mind looks at the words, you definitely get the feeling that this was not written in the same manner that those 4 novels were written. Now, I'm not saying it was written by AI. It feels like it was written by AI. It feels like it was written by committee. It feels like someone just said, come up with a scrappy story, we'll fill in the gaps. That might be disingenuous. That might be cruel or nasty to Richard Osman. I'm sure he'll deal with it. It's not like his empire is going to collapse because of my review. But all I know is I like to read. I like to read books that entertain me. I like to read books that engage me, and I read a wide variety, a diverse range of books, and I can, in my own world, my own reading mind universe, I can look at words and I can look at stories and I can see there's something missing. Now, I may not be able to tell you exactly what it is. If you look at my previous videos, I'm very big on promoting reading. And I love stories, I love imagination, I love narrative. And unfortunately, Richard Osman's We Solve Murders just doesn't cut it as a human, heartfelt novel. It has lost something. There's something missing. I don't know what it is, but I found it very disconcerting reading it. It just felt as if there was something going on that I cannot work out what it is. Anyway, thanks for watching. Excuse me. What am I reading at the moment? Okay, I'm reading volume 1 of The Life of D.H. Lawrence. So I'm almost finished volume 1. Here's volume 2. And here's volume 3. So I'm kind of looking forward to getting stuck into that. It's very dry, but it's highly entertaining. It's beautifully written. It's a history that is so minute because it's got 3 volumes of his. I mean, he died quite young, so obviously the writers at Cambridge decided to pick 3 different authors, 3 different historians to write 3 volumes of his life in and I've read most of D.H. Lawrence. I love him. He's a great writer. One of my first guests, I think, who was on my podcast or my show was Alison McLeod, who wrote Tentative, which is a wonderful novel that came out about 2 years ago about D.H. Lawrence's final novel, Lady Chapley's Lover. All right, so that's it for BookMob episode 63. Thanks for tuning in. If you're still here, I'll get another episode up soon. And Richard Osman's We Solve Murders, available in your bookshops. And don't really highly recommend it, but you know what? Maybe read it and you can get back to me and tell me what you think. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you in the library or the bookshops soon. Bye.